Hello, everyone, and welcome to the presentation about the remote onboarding. I'm really excited about this because I guess this is a topic even before Corona, where you would struggle a lot and it would be really challenging to achieve perfection at any time. Um, Before going right into it, I will not bore you with all my resume, probably just keeping the slide so you know that I'm not always very serious person. So you're ready what to expect at the presentation. Instead, I will briefly talk why I am the one to talk about remote onboarding in the long run. Um, so I've been in IT for 9 years, and about 8 of them I've been working remotely in really different roles. So I ended up onboarding or driving onboarding in some way for dozens of people. And I could compare it with the offline onboarding very briefly, but I think right enough. I guess the most relevant experience was at Scout B, where I was driving, scaling the distributed team, and we managed to get from pre-seed to Series B within just 2 years. And that was the time when we started, this classical story where friends getting together. And I started with onboarding friends, but then we had to mature and very quickly and to scale our process, and I was leading it there. And now I'm working at SimCorp, a really big organization, about 2,000 people working here. And as a Scrum Master, organizational coach, and of course, a mentor on leading distributed international teams, that would be a shame if I haven't benefited from it. I'm now driving a lot of activities around remote. And of course, as a consultant, blogger, and speaker on agile and remote work, I guess I'm the one who will tell it not only from books and theory, but actually about the practice. So, onboarding, how to make it great experience for both newcomer and your team, how to activate a rather creative initiative, satisfied part of the person you're onboarding, and mitigate the situation when you would get someone shy, stressed, very easy to get so when you're onboarded, and especially remotely. And we will share. We will actually, I've prepared lots of puzzles for you, so it's not going to be only the presentation. And we'll together get deep into how to make it efficient, sustainable. Yeah, so you not just have it as a TK onboarded and then in several months, oh, we didn't share some important info, or person didn't know about some organizational rules or who to ask to. And last but not least, as you could guess from the first slides from the CV one, how to make it fun, because the most interesting parts and the most efficient work happens when it's fun. So, how will we do it? First, we will talk how to make it unforgettable experience. Then we will brainstorm on learning by doing. Then how to educate about the culture when you work remotely. Yeah. And then, of course, ensure the network. And a bit boring part that I did my best to do less boring and more fun, a consistent flow with a feedback loop. Yeah, how it may look when we move to the onboarding and why it needs to be a little bit more detailed than when you work at the office. So, already, yeah, let's jump right into it. Task number one, puzzle number one for you. Imagine that you're gonna onboard a superhero, or maybe a developer, whoever you would like to be your colleague, into your team. How would you make an impression on the superhero? How would you do it? Just a couple of seconds. What kind of thoughts do you have? So I, of course, have no idea what you thought of, but I'm pretty sure you were not thinking of reading manuals or setting up project alone, the first day of working, or fighting excesses, and even watching presentations. Yeah, most probably you were thinking about something more exciting, fun, not mundane. And it could be something like warm, festive welcome. Yeah, that is again a bit challenging to make online, but we'll move to it a bit later, how you can do that. Some inspirational first task where you can feel the atmosphere and get into the work and get this inspiration from your colleagues. Getting to know your colleagues, of course. Yeah, if you have good ones, it can be a very big advantage. And trying out something cool. Yeah, very broad, this part, but very nice to work on. So let me give you some examples how it could be. How can we win our newcomer at the first day, whoever they are? So the warm welcome, in my opinion, is one of the most important parts. And who cares about my opinion? That scientific research tells that the first impression is key, right? So when you're having the remote onboarding, fighting excesses, trying to log in, that's all the parts that you think in advance and you're avoiding that. And instead of that, you have a meeting where you have people and you bring in the festive mood. Yeah, you can get some objects around, you can make some noise, whatever works in your team, but make it the experience to feel, right? Then there should be some celebration at, we had the Slack channel for our company, probably have something like that. And we made a GIF party, like nice, warm, welcoming, emotional gifts. Something that, again, you would have it by default when you would walk over the office and you would have the smiles of the people. You can do that, but you can have gifts, maybe even funnier sometimes, right? And you can also have this element of open-mindedness there. At our startup, we had a CEO that was sending gifts all the time, and I believe that it affected the mood and the atmosphere at the team a lot. Introduction of people. What we also did at the stand-up, which was of course not a stand-up anymore, but we had it at the time of a stand-up. We introduced each other and invited a newcomer to introduce themselves. And we did it in a fun way. For example, you can ask your colleagues to, one by one, talk about another colleague and say what they appreciate about that colleague, something special about that colleague, and, for example, what they would ask them for. Yes, some really nice advice, something they're good at. What you can also do, you can share about the roles very briefly when talking about yourself, but then try to say in what aspect are you weird? Yes, something weird or surprising about your personality that also can break the ice very quickly. And of course, you would have the newcomer talking the last. Yes, it's the safest part. Introduction of a product. If you're working at a software company, I would expect that you are there not only to work your working hours, right? We are not at this era anymore. We are here to build stuff, to make the world better, to meet the pains of our clients. So what you definitely shouldn't do is just going through your product or sharing any presentations. That could work at the office, but as soon as you're online, you have to tell the story, you have to make it feel. So get someone and tell a story about your product. Describe your client, who are they, what are their interests, draw the picture. Is it a middle-aged, gray-haired man trying to make a perfection windows on their cars? Or who are your people? What kind of pains you're solving? Make it very inspirational and make it feel, right? Then the inspiring first task, something to do. If you manage to give some work to do, so they can feel, okay, we can do it, it's doable, but it's also interesting to some part. And sometimes it can be even setting up that project. Yeah, I mean, like Python project, for example. That can be fun. If you pair person, if you make a journey, if you input some knowledge in there, if you gamify it. So take some time, make it creative. Okay, hopefully you have warmed up and you're ready for the next point of our presentation. It's gonna be a little bit more actionable and interactive. So, learning by doing. And a small pre-word before we move to the puzzles. So passive learning used to be business as usual. That's how I started at school. And that's why probably I don't remember much stuff from school, right? Reading, presentations, maybe some tests. That was business as usual. And that's why in most of old-fashioned organization, you still have it there. Yeah, you still have trainings, presentations, checklists to go through. And that was totally okay, but it was okay because you could compensate it at the office. Well, what about now? When we're all alone or not alone with our families and dogs and cats running around, it doesn't make it easier, right? What's now? And I think that now it's an awesome opportunity to improve that approach faster. And if you read more about experience learning, or probably you already know about facilitating from the back of the room, that is the principles that uses the scientific research and makes learning faster. And now we're finally moving to the puzzles. Promise they're not going to be too challenging. Before we do it, a small setting the mood. Please remember what you know about the best ways of learning. Any kind of tricks, maybe something emotion provoking, maybe some associations that you had, some stories, or navigation approach. Yeah, for example, I could memorize what I'm going to talk about at the presentation by visualizing a house with rooms, going from room to room and not forgetting what is in the previous room. Yeah, so anything you know about learning. Ready? Okay, let's go. Puzzle number one. You have to explain to your superhero or whoever you're onboarding a task workflow. Yeah, probably you have the Kanban word, then you have backlog, in progress, whatever, and you have some criteria in which your tasks or stories, whatever you have, are moving from one status to another one. Yeah, and you need, of course, you need to onboard the person. They need to know. So how would you do it? I have some options for you to choose from. Option number one, watching a video, taking a course, listening to a presentation, learn together with a colleague. I mean, for example, you create a test task and then you move it together and then you, in an interactive way, you describe the statuses. Or just move your first task and you peep at the instructions. So what do you think I have in mind? Taking all the information before, probably it's not surprising anymore, but yes, that's these two tasks, I mean. And yes, I know about the experiences when they have special course about moving the tasks. Well, I think very similar to my school education in most of cases, right? Okay, ready for the next one? So this is going to be a bit more challenging one. So you have a new tool, the person hasn't used it before. Even if it's a superhero, you know it happens. It's going to be Kubernetes, but if you have no idea what it is, it's okay. And then the options, a book on Kubernetes, very good one. The best Kubernetes course with, you know, all the interactive practice, tasks, self-check and everything. I'd ask to have a pair coding with an expert in Kubernetes. So you have some new feature and you're making a pair coding, you're changing. So once you're coding, then they help you, then they code and you're asking questions. So whatever works for you. And the last option is, well, here's the bug in Kubernetes, fix it. Okay, what are you thinking about? Yeah, you know, in this case, I would recommend using all of them and having a flow. And when you're working remotely, you would really like to think in advance. Yeah, whatever you're doing, you're collaborating on a task. If it's at the office, you wouldn't plan it too much. If you're remotely, then you would plan to coordinate more. This is synchronous work. And the same about these complex tools. So ideally, what you would do, you would have this course, but probably you would also have some coffee talks or some brainstorms or some knowledge sharing after that course to the team. You would definitely have some pair coding, or a lot of pair coding sometimes, so weeks of pair coding. Oh, Zoom fatigue, hello. Yeah, don't forget about breaks. that's another presentation. Then the bug fixes, and then of course you would have a book and you would use it as soon as you would like to go deeper. You would peep into that and take a look. Okay, I think it's a good job. I can know, but I assume you're doing a good job with the puzzle. So let's move on. The next puzzle. What is the best way to learn about the organizational structure? And here's a small typo, excuse me for that. So imagine that now we're talking about the bigger team. Of course, if you're 10, it's very easy to learn. So option read on, just read on it. Another one, shadow your colleagues from different departments or get a coffee with them. If you don't know what shadowing is, very easy. So, okay, you grasp a customer success person and you live a day with them. You're thinking what is the best day, so there is, you know, more interaction. Then you pair, you may ask questions, you may help with something, but you're shadowing them. You're like a shadow behind them, letting do the work and watching them. Draw it together at a workshop with a new team. Yes, I'm getting onboarded. It's good to feel a superhero. And I'm drawing it with my new team. I'm brainstorming, asking questions. Why is it so? Because they don't know the answer. Yeah, so I would really strive for this too. And I myself was into such a workshop, and it really helped me to understand how SimCorp is built. It's a really complex system. Shadowing, even better. Not always you can afford it, big organizations especially, but at least for the key positions, yeah, like customer success could be one of them. Okay, let's move on. The next puzzle is about training on security. How can we learn to be the best in terms of security? Option number one, hacking night. All get together, get some non-corporate computers and try to hack into the system. Security training, probably one of the most classical ways. And the last one, being caked or alike. If you don't know what being caked means, then I envy because I've been caked a lot of times. And let me quickly describe this experience. So I go to the bathroom, yeah, at some of the gatherings or co-workings or whatever. All these times, yeah, probably being caked at Corona time is even more difficult. Anyways, I go out and I leave my computer unattended. And then my colleague goes very fast, enters my Slack, and promises in a team channel that I will buy you a cake. Then I come back from the bathroom. I open my PC. Ah, damn it! I again have to buy this cake. Oh no! Yeah, and believe me, it's difficult because when you're working remotely, you have gatherings for dozens of people, and then you have to feed them all. So then you're trying to cake someone else and join your efforts. So the idea is something practical. It can be a phishing email, it can be some attack on your office, right? Something like that. And I favor this one. Yeah, security trainings are the most widespread, but I would say that according to the data, also least efficient. You forget stuff, you tend to forget stuff. Buying the cake is unforgettable. Hacking Night, also very nice tool, and very highly recommended. The problem is that you would still be on the other side, so you would get more understanding into that, and probably you're gonna find a lot of vulnerabilities. So there is another purpose of this awesome exercise, but learning about the security would be more difficult. Yeah, and don't forget that joining all the stuff is the best, yeah, especially when it comes to security. So let me quickly sum it up what we just went through with our puzzles. So first of all, repeating in different ways and ideally with different people, so you have this networking already, and having pauses. Yeah, so with the Kubernetes, you would have a long learning curve. You would have pair codings with different people. You would have the flow. When it comes to security, yeah, you would also probably have some learnings to get, then you would have some practice dispersed in time. Yeah, that was pretty obvious, right? Learning by doing is the best. Yeah, so that is not only about remote, but again, you can achieve the same results with less learning by doing at the office. When doing remotely, deprioritize it. Prioritize the practical things, especially if it should be something about critical parts. Yeah, like security. Collaboration ensures faster curve. Yeah, the spread code and stuff. It's also easier for our brain to get it when we are doing it with other people. That's how we are born to, yeah, work in society. Remotely, you have less of that, so you have to make up for it with pair coding, pair code reviews, mob programming, whatever works for you. Associations and fun is what makes it stick. Yeah, so hackathons, fun puzzles, co-creating workshops together. That's what helps. Or having some photos that I just noticed that a part of this guy's body is like right below my video. Yeah, all this stuff. And now it's a spoiler because you're gonna go into culture next. When you want the person to learn about the culture, integrate it into activities. Share observations, share the main points, praise a person, or just spotlight the positive cultural activities that they have, or just aspects that they're showing. Integrated. Yeah, the more integrated, the better. Okay, so as I told before, moving to the culture, and I think everyone has been there. When you come, you lean back, and someone is talking about the culture of the company you have just joined. Um, well, if it was somehow at the interview, it feels good, but yeah, let's face it, it's not something that we can understand and digest right away, right? Again, especially when you're leaning back at home, yeah, when all your values are so close and these people you're just meeting there is still far away. Yeah, and then you add on this Zoom fatigue, and then all these abstract things, they are not persuaded that well, not perceived that way, right? So instead, um, let's imagine again the life of our superhero and think, when could they really learn that trust is a part of the team culture? Hypothetically, what kind of activities could there be? Of course, I have some options for you. Yeah, otherwise that would have been a very boring presentation. When listening to presentation about the team culture, when observing the actual team dynamics, when they were resolving a challenging bug, yeah, so for example, there is a brainstorm, everyone is open-minded, we are not blaming each other, right? We're trying to get how we can fix this bug, how to prevent these bugs from occurring. Or when the superhero was allowed to organize a workshop just because they said that they know it. Yes, the team trusted, although probably they even had some experience before, but they wanted to learn more, and they had this trust. Yeah, okay, we trust, we have hired you, we trust you to organize that. If you say so, if you can, that would be awesome. And the answer is, well, better everything. Better to share about that. Again, probably not a presentation, probably just a coffee talk, or I don't know, everyone by turns present what is the part of a culture. Yeah, be creative about that, so they do not switch their camera off and get asleep with their fluffy dog. But then you would have some activities, and you would spotlight, you would show it, you would drive this feeling, you would draw attention of your newcomer. Again, when you're at the office, you can see, you can feel, you can have more coffee talks, and you would feel it, like what is there understandable, probably you should not talk about that, and what is there where you need to draw attention. When you're doing it remotely, better to have backups everywhere and highlight it. And then of course your onboarding tasks, we will move to them later. They should be connected with the culture. All of them should be connected with the culture. Check if the tasks you're doing help to feel it, that they are already a part of a team. Okay, good. So remember one more point. With every newcomer, you have a chance to influence the culture, right? When you're doing it remotely, it's much more difficult uh, to grasp what this influence is. So what would you do about that? What helped for us is first setting borders. So you explain, okay, it's okay to send big PRs, lots of code in the same batch to be reviewed by your colleague. But here it's not a part of our culture. We want to move in small steps. We want to have a very high transparency about what we're doing. Yes, so I explain why it is so, but I set a border. That is how it works. And that is not negotiable. I mean, the principle, yeah, of course, the practice, it can be negotiable if you come up with something, sure, but this principle is how it is. So you have to accept it if you are a part of our team. Then you educate, yeah, again, you explain why. So not just it is as it is, yeah, explain why. And then you foster the positive trends. You see something good, write a message in the chat, highlight it at a stand up, text probably this person sometimes, and also teach your colleagues, your team to do that. It's very important. You know, you have this feeling, okay, I'm working here from home, but yeah, I'm doing the right thing when it happens. Also, constructive feedback. Yeah, so it's okay to make mistakes. You don't know our culture now, but that's not how it is. So let's not do it another way. Yeah, okay. You have sent messages here within 1 minute to the chat with 30 people. It may be okay at some companies, but here we are merging them. That's how you're doing that. I will explain why. Yeah, it's this notifications. This channel is not is mandatory to have the notifications on, and you're sidetracking people. So please do not do that. And probably you should also put it to a thread. Yeah, because that was a part of the previous topic. And the last thing that is very difficult to do, but as soon as you see that the person doesn't comply with what you defined as necessary to join your team, better to fire ASAP, because who knows, maybe this new culture would prevail. And then, yeah, that's not the situation we want to be in. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. And culture, it was a difficult topic. The next one is networking. I like it more, you know, because I'm extrovert apparently. So people like me before Corona would easily handle their network. Yeah, just go outside and talk. Yeah, that's how I get the energy. The weirdo people would find similar weirdos in the crowd. Yeah, I'm also somehow weirdo, so in a good meaning of this word. Introverts would wait, they would establish some close connections, but then they would talk out with the closest people. Yeah, let's move back to this awesome picture from France. What about now? What about now? We can do it like that. Yes, it's not possible. But you know what? We can foster it as a team. So before at the office, okay, you do it yourself will help you. But now, when you're at home, you don't know anyone. And come on, even I, an extrovert to 80%, would not have the guts just to text on Slack some person that probably would be interesting for me to talk to. Yeah, that's madness. So I would love my team to help me to bring this connection. And this can be thought through. How? First of all, team brainstorm. Have it as a task. What connections are important for our newcomer? What is key? How can we establish them? What makes sense? Yeah, we would not like them to get overwhelmed. Yeah, and you would like it to be connected to something. Then you have it as a task for everyone. Okay, as soon as we have an opportunity to introduce a newcomer, we grasp it and we do it. Then onboarding tasks, never long, pair, a group. We'll also get into details a bit later. Then practice shadowing and like tools. Yes, so let it be a part of the onboarding program. And this one may be very inconvenient, and it's so difficult to coach people and sometimes to persuade someone to do that. If there is a cross-team task, try to involve a newcomer. It may feel really rare. Yes, some HR comes to help, and someone who has been working here for a longer time, they can help faster. Or customer success would like to handle something. It's natural to deal with people that you know. But I recommend to dive into that to get a newcomer. Support them, yeah, not do it alone, but just get them to that call. Ask them some questions, try to get their new perspective. They are the ones who will take a look at it from a different aspect. Reveal it. Get that initiative and fun person out. Fight this modesty. Extreme modesty. Fight the person being too shy and closed. Open up. Create the environment for that. Okay, so now we had lots of puzzles. We went into the culture. We went into the networking. How can it be as a part of a consistent flow and a feedback loop? It's the most challenging part of this presentation, and I really hope you don't fall asleep when listening to it. So first, a bit of the explanation, okay, because I have to do that. But then I will give you an example, and hopefully it will be much more fun than just the explanation. So, in the root, the foundation of our flow of onboarding would be this 4 pillars or palms, if you want, when you plan the task. So first you share a concept or something. If it's we trust each other, then yeah, I just mentioned trust each other, and that's how we do. And if it's a Kubernetes, probably it's a course. Then you let observe. That's how we try. That's what we mean under trust. Let me give you examples. Yeah, you make it more clear. With Kubernetes, probably some pair coding or knowledge sharing about how it's set up. And then these two are very connected between each other, difficult to bring the border. But you first let experience at a lower scale. So for example, fixing bugs. And then at high scale, delivering features with this new tool. Let me give one more examples. Online etiquette. Yeah. So first, you share the concept. And yes, I should admit, after talking how much I hate presentations, also given the one now, we had a video. It was very short, 10 or 12 minutes about the communication etiquette, how we are grouping in threads, what we are muting, what we are not muting, how we are checking the stuff that is muted, how we organize the async work, how we do not have meetings that are unplanned, how we have this space that if something needs to be discussed about the features, and we do it in the general channel and give space for others to join and chip in. Yeah, we're never having it on the outskirts. So you share this concept, then you let observe. Yeah, so, okay, we meet in 2 weeks. What did you observe about this communication? Probably, what did you observe that was not in line with our online etiquette? Yeah, let's talk about that. It can be very helpful, not only for onboarding, yeah, but overall for getting it better. Then you let experience at low scale. Probably you help to deliver the first messages, to group them, you would guide. And then you experience it in high scale, which can be, for example, okay, I will, we have a new person onboarding. Could you tell them, could you have, I will send you the presentation here, yeah, with sharing the concept. You can use the slides or Miro, whatever, and then you go through that, yeah? Yeah. Educating can be experienced at high scale, right? When you're teaching others, you get it the most. Okay, so let's come back for a moment here. because that's important to remind. So that's the mode in which we want our newcomer to be: initiative, creative, satisfied, learning fast, confident about their knowledge. And for that, we have the smaller tasks that shape this behavior, and they would be much more detailed than you would do at the office. You really think it through. And then you have them pretty safe, but challenging enough. How you're making them safe? You base it on personal strengths. For example, once we had a junior. He hasn't worked as a programmer before. First job as a programmer. Yeah, pretty scary, right? Difficult to feel safe. But that guy was really good at organizing stuff. He had really cool organizational skills, experience, everything. He could organize whatever. So what we did when we were planning the onboarding, we brainstormed and we came up with an idea that he would organize a community of practice. A long pause with a trick here. How difficult is it to organize communities of practice? Yeah, even at a setup team. Yeah, but yes, that was for the onboarding process for a newcomer. Set up, get people together, organize these people, facilitate the meetings, make it sustainable. It was pretty challenging, right? But on the other hand, it was based on his strengths. And of course, we provided support. I was like, I will be there for you anytime, for anything, as long as you need. It was one meeting preparation, one meeting, and then another meeting preparation, gathering feedback. That's it. Honestly, he did it better than me before. But I was always there for him. If you need any kind of help, I'm here. That's what works, that's what doesn't. I know the people, so I will help you to get them together. This is a good message, that's not a good message. That's where better to get them. And of course, you make it very transparent to the team so they can really appreciate this challenge. Yeah, hey, let's support. It's so challenging. Let's support this person. When you give such a mood, then the team also looks at it from a different angle and they help. That's like works like a charm. And you don't need to overthink it too much. It's okay that you don't have coffees with this person. You're brainstorming right away. What are you good at? And you're coming up with these first tasks. And then they're in. They're really in. A last thing, it's very difficult. Again, this setup, difficult to feel how challenging is it. The challenge has to be moderate. It shouldn't be too easy, yeah, but it should not be a crocodile, dinosaur eating you kind of challenge. It should be something in between. Challenge it, prepare some questions for the onboarding planning, make it in the middle. So finally, time for the example. Woo-hoo! So this is an example of an onboarding plan that we had, and I will go through its structure. So you really have a feel how it looks, and so you also do not fall asleep. So what we did at the first days, we had a brainstorm. Of course, all the team was onboarding, and the responsible supporting the newcomer would be all the team members, maybe out of the team members. But we invited the key people. It was like 3-4 people at the call. We had the targets brainstormed with the team before. Yes, so what is important? What is the most important? If you're working with OKRs, that, by the way, really cool tool, because they make you align on the most important things. Think of it as an objective, yes, something general that you want them to come up with, something challenging enough, but not too stressful. So if our superhero was was Ben, then the target could be be able to choose the appropriate quality gates when they're delivering feature. Yeah, so you have a feature and you should think what kind of tests should be there. Is there TDD or not TDD? Like what is there? And these targets would be mostly delivered by the team, and they are discussed with the newcomer, but usually they are not very flexible. Yeah, so those are like our expectations from you. So you're very flexible about the next part, which is the activities, how you're doing it. Very flexible, but we are not very flexible about the targets. And in the activities, yeah, so as we were learning before, the more different aspects, the better. You put them, you're brainstorming around them. And here the example can be knowledge sharing by some person, Coursera course, some specific one that is relevant. Then the research of the features, yeah, low scale experiment, and then the high scale experiment, 3 stories with successful choice validated by Stan. And here, by the way, one improvement that can be made. Okay, stand here and stand there. Get 2 different people. They will get different feedback, more opportunities to learn and networking. Then, of course, you would make it pretty strict. You would put responsible, you would track it, and we gathered every 2 weeks, and we were tracking, and we were reviewing, and we could talk about moving the deadline because, come on, we're living in the agile world. We need to adjust, right? And we put the comments, and here example how flexible we could be. Okay. We made a knowledge sharing, and then Stan said, okay, this newcomer is good enough, not needed to have this Coursera course. Let's rather research and practice, okay? If it doesn't work, we'll get back to it. And one more example, my favorite example. You're gonna like it. Everyone likes this example. So how you would insert the culture? Yeah, how would you insert the cultural task? A bit tired already. Need the feel of the audience, yeah, people. So one of the tasks that we had was sending an embarrassing GIF to a team channel. Here I have a more simplified way, but we had an embarrassing GIF. We had a comment on Slack. You could write a GIF, and then you would write a keyword, and then you are not choosing what GIF is sent. It's random. And of course, when you're using this functionality, you end up sending really embarrassing GIFs, really embarrassing. And I don't only mean the good morning, honey kind of GIF, but I also mean a GIF. Once I sent GIF German, and it was the Second World War GIF to a German team. Yeah, how embarrassed was I? But everyone was laughing. We had very open atmosphere. And that's why we made this task. We have noticed when people join, it's difficult for them to open up. They're unlikely to do that. And that culture would really die off because we were having more new people than the old ones. And how to have this open? We had it in the onboarding, and we explained why we have it. You know, it's very important for us to have this GIF culture because that's how we express our emotions. We do not see each other a lot. We work in sync a lot, but we want to be a team and we want to share our emotions. And how we are doing it is with the help of GIFs that helps us. And then to send a really embarrassing GIF, you would need to train a lot. Yes, you would need to send a lot of GIFs. So it means that you're getting used to it and you're motivated because you have this task on your onboarding, right? And And here is an easier part. Send in, again, another typo, sorry. Send in 3 random GIFs to the Slack channel, but team Slack channel, not in private. That doesn't count, right? And then we also had the GIF trainings channel. Yeah, keep it safe. Everyone knows that you have such a task. No one would judge you. And then you will also see the reaction would be good. And you can also practice at the channel. And it's fun, right? Okay, people, I want to congratulate you. You were really, really strong. You went through all of these parts. And at the end, I would like to send the last recommendation. Try to find your balance. Have it safe enough and have it also challenging enough so you can really benefit from that person being in your team. Use their potential to the maximum, benefit from it, and have them sharing their knowledge and always delivering the best results. There will be a Q&A afterwards, so we can talk more about that. It's a formal invitation from me. And I would really like to thank you for the time. If you survived till now, probably you liked it. So when this survey pops up at the end of the presentation, I hope you will take a moment and fill it in. Yeah, so please follow me whenever on LinkedIn, on our blogs. As you see, I really like knowledge sharing and brainstorming with other people about their challenges. So we'll be happy to help you with anything. And see you hopefully at the QAs when we'll have this summer mood that now in April I have a great anticipation of. Thank you and good luck. Good luck with your onboarding. Enjoy it to the most.